What's good, YouTube? Today I'm going to talk about how I survived being homeless in Los Angeles. Let's go ahead and get into it. So in 2018, I booked a one-way ticket to Los Angeles from New York. I just wanted something new, something different. I knew I always wanted to live in LA, so I just made that leap of faith at 20 years old. When I first touched down, it was amazing for the first 2 weeks. I stayed in a hostel. I was looking for jobs. I was passing out my resume. I remember walking up and down Hollywood Boulevard, passing out my resume, just trying to meet as many people as I could. And, I was having a really good time. I ended up getting a job at a t-shirt shop on Venice Beach. At this point, I thought I was good. I had my job. Things were looking on the up and up. But little did I know that this job was going to close down in about 3 weeks due to, it being like a summertime position and we were going into the fall. So long story short, I ended up, being laid off from that job. I ran out of all my money because I just spent it on a bunch of dumb stuff. I spent it on tattoos. I was getting, eating out, going to different clubs and stuff. Like, I was just being really irresponsible with my money, and that $3,000 was just gone. It was just gone in a matter of like couple weeks. So here I am. I'm about to be kicked out of this hostel. I get kicked out, and now I'm on the streets. So now I'm walking through the streets of LA with just a suitcase, and this was literally one of the most surreal moments of my life. I was now in a position that I never ever thought I would be in life, and now I was homeless in LA with no family and nobody to help me but myself. So I just had my suitcase. I remember I went to like this little alleyway. I put my suitcase in the alleyway, and then I forgot where I went that night, but I know I went back the next morning and the suitcase was gone. The next morning I come back and my suitcase is gone. Everything's gone. So now all I have is just my little it was like a little satchel that I had, but it had my most important stuff. It had my ID, and it had my passport, and it had my social security card, which is literally what I needed to even get a job out in LA. So, so fast forward a couple weeks, I'm now sleeping on the train. I'm now sleeping on the bus because, I'm just trying to scramble to get a job, trying to save up enough money to get a plane ticket back home or a bus ticket back home. And I'm feeling real stuck. I don't want to call my family because I'm just too embarrassed about what's going on. And I really don't want to tell them, like, hey, I'm in trouble and I just need to get out of here. I end up losing my phone. I don't know. I was sleeping on the train, and then I guess I dropped my phone, and somebody picked it up. So now I have no phone. I have no way to like keep in contact. So I'm going up to jobs and I'm like saying, hey, like, just email me so I can use like the public computer and try to connect with anybody that's trying to get in touch with me. So it's just bad right now. I'm just in a messed up situation. And the final blow was one day I was on the train and I was just rushing. I wasn't really paying attention, and I ran off the train real quick, and I had forgot my satchel with my passport and my social security card and my ID. So now I have literally the only thing that saved me was when I had that first job. I had to take a picture of my ID and send it to my employer. So I went back to my employer and had them send my ID to my email so I would have it. So now the only thing I have to save me is a picture of my ID. Now you're probably wondering why I didn't call home at this point. Why didn't you just pick up the phone and call your parents and say, hey, this is going on? I was too embarrassed and too prideful, and I didn't want to go through all this just to get nothing out of it. And I don't know why, but I just had this crazy optimism that I don't know where it came from, but I was just optimistic, and I just was like, it's not gonna be like this forever. So at this point, I'm using the picture of my ID to just get a bunch of different odd jobs, but nothing's really sticking. I'm going to a bunch of jobs, either it's just like a seasonal job or it's part-time, but I can never really find any full-time employment. I remember I got a job as a club promoter, which is crazy. Um, that was literally one of my craziest experiences. I got a job as a club promoter and I was homeless, which is almost like oxymoronic because when you think of club promoters, you think of, lavish lifestyles and stuff. But I was actually homeless, trying to recruit girls in the club, and I was using the little bit of money that I had to try to keep up with appearances and try to make sure my clothes were nice, just so I can hustle to make a little bit of money. And at this point, I'm still sleeping on buses. I'm still sleeping on the trains. Now I have like a little backpack, so I keep all my stuff in there. And I'm getting into some dangerous situations. I remember one night I was walking. It was late at night. It was like midnight. I was walking in Pershing Square, and a dude pulled up. He was trying to fight me. I got into a fight on Pershing Square, so I was literally just being in a bunch of different dangerous situations. I had bought a knife and pepper spray, so I was keeping a knife and pepper spray on me, just in case I had to defend myself or something got real. And when you're living on the streets, you really see the ugly side of the world. I remember I was on the train and I saw somebody that was passed out, and then I remember like 5 dudes just swarmed him, and instead of getting help for this man, they all just ran his pockets and like stripped him of everything he had. And I remember being on a bus one time, and an old woman that came on the bus was bloodied, and she was asking for help, and the bus driver just looked at her and told her to get off the bus. I remember just being on the subways or on the bus or on the street and seeing people just cracked out and living in tents and living just dirty and just just a life that you never thought could ever exist. So eventually I got a job at a pizza place on Hollywood and Vine. The name of it was 800 Degrees Pizzeria, and I would be the dishwasher. And I would say that this job literally saved my life. I was a dishwasher over there. It was the first job that gave me consistent employment, and I met my roommates there. By the grace of God, one of their roommates had moved out, and they were looking for somebody, and it was only $800 to move in, and my check was $800 and some change. So I was able to get like a little burner phone, and I eventually moved in with them, and I moved in on the floor. I literally had nothing. I moved in on the floor, and it was my man Quran, it was my man Jalil, and it was literally one of the craziest feelings that first night that I moved in. And when I woke up, I woke up on the floor, and it was the first time where I didn't wake up on the train. And it had been, I would want to say, about 5 months that I had been living like that, where I was on the bus and I was on the train. And it was just a sense of joy, as in like, oh my God, I can't believe I made it out. And I had consistent employment, and it was the first time where now I could actually kind of have fun. And this is so crazy, but I hadn't even talked to my family in like months, because I had lost contact with them, and I was scared to even contact them. I was scared of contacting my mom because I was just so ashamed of what had happened. And I eventually texted and reached out, and we reconnected, and I was able to fly back, and then all was forgiven. And I'm forever grateful that my family was so forgiving, and it was just an experience. So I say all that just to share my story. If there's ever anybody that feels like they're in a hopeless situation, I was able to get my ID, my social security card. I was able to reorder all that stuff that I lost. So that was a really good feeling. I had a mailing address finally. But if anybody needs to hear this, or anybody is going through some rough times, just remember, just stay positive, keep your head up, and work hard, and don't give up. Persistence is key. So thank you guys for listening to my story, and God bless.